20 interesting facts about the Nintendo 64. The Nintendo 64, or N64 as it's immeasurably known, was an earth-shattering console in many regards. A genuinely progressive reissue that held numerous firsts and endures of present-day gaming. A support that formed gaming as it is today. So there will be a couple of things that unexpected you to find out about the N64, as did you realize that they had some help planning the illustrations drive? Or, on the other hand, that there was additionally a circle drive extension to the N64? The greater part of this and more personality blogging certainties are here, so all you RetroPro users out there appreciate. The Nintendo 64 experienced a couple name changes before its discharge. At the point when designers began taking a shot at it, they gave it the code name Extend Reality. It was later named the Nintendo Ultra 64, out of appreciation for a few toys made in the 1960s, for example, the Ultra Hand. In spite of the fact that this name was abbreviated to quite recently the Nintendo 64, as Konami held a trademark on the name Ultra Games. At the point when the N64 turned out, it was sought after. A few VIPs, including Steven Spielberg, Matthew Perry and a couple of the Chicago Bulls, took a stab at reaching Nintendo to play the VIP card and get special treatment in accepting one. By December 31 in 2009, the N64 had sold 32.93 million units. 5.54 million of them were sold in Japan, 6.76 million in different districts around the world, and an astounding 20.63 million were sold in the Americas. It's hard to believe, but it's true, just shy of 66% of N64 sold in the principal year were sold in North and South America. The Nintendo 64 was a weighty support, being the primary ever comfort to highlight 3D representation. The N64's controller was additionally the main controller to ever highlight a simple stick. It's hard to believe, but it's true. 3D design and a simple stick, the N64 truly had it all. Be that as it may, the simple stick wasn't all uplifting news. A large portion of the smaller-than-expected diversions in Mario Party obliged players to utilize the simple stick, frequently with the palm of their hands, which would now and then make the players get rankles staring them in the face. After an effective claim against Nintendo, they were legitimately required to offer gloves to players with the diversion as a security safety measure. At the point when a great many people think about the N64, they see the dark support Nintendo initially discharged. As Nintendo developed with the achievement of the N64, they discharged an entire host of various shaded N64s in green, blue, orange, red, dark and pink. And in addition the distinctive hued comforts, Nintendo likewise discharged some uncommon version variants of the N64, including 2 blue and 1 orange Peacock releases, and also a Pokémon Battle set form, a jungle green version to remember the arrival of Donkey Kong 64, and a gold version Elite to Toys R Us stores. Talking about Donkey Kong 64, this amusement holds a remarkable title among all N64 recreations, as it is the one with the longest measure of gameplay. At the point when the Nintendo 64 first turned out, it had just 2 amusements accessible to its clients over the world. However, Japan were sufficiently fortunate to get a third version, Skyo Shogi, alongside Super Mario 64 and Pilot Wings 64. Despite the fact that there was just 2-3 recreations to begin with on the N64, Nintendo discharged an entire library of diversions as time continued, conveying the aggregate up to barely short of 400 amusements. The last N64 cartridge at any point made was Tony Hawk Pro Skater and was discharged in 2002. Toward the finish of World War II, South Korea restricted Japanese social imports, implying that the N64 was prohibited. As a result of this, it was discharged by South Korean organization Hyundai and was remarked and the Convoy 64. The N64 was the last significant support to utilize cartridges. In spite of this, there was a circle drive add-on called the 64DD exhibited at 1999 Space World Today amusement pier in Japan. However, this was never discharged outside of Japan. As an extension of the 64DD, The N64 additionally had an online administration where players could download demos and content on the web. It cost $25 a month, yet like the 64DD it never made it out of Japan. Organizer of Netscape, Mark Andreessen, proposed to Nintendo making an online administration for the N64, however Nintendo retreated from this as they needed full control of the N64. In Japan the Nintendo 64 was really an underdealer. Many trust the purpose behind this was because of the way that it had significantly less role-playing games, or RPGs, than the PlayStation, which is a standout amongst the most prevalent classifications of amusement in Japan. The N64's discharge was deferred until 1996, after Sega's Saturn and Sony's PlayStation had as of now turned out. However, the approaching discharge combined with the N64's minimal effort implied that many individuals sat tight for the N64 as opposed to get one of its rivals. Not at all like its forerunners the NES and the SNES, the N64 has kept up scarcely any status as a collectible support. Accessible at discharge for generally $200, you can now get a N64, contingent upon additional items and what version, for about $100. Amid the advancement of the N64, Nintendo had some help building up the 3D representation equipment and the chip utilized as a part of the N64 from both Silicon Graphics and MIPS innovation. Because of this help and the colossal achievement of the Nintendo 64, we have the progressive representation that today's consoles give us.